There is a weed growing in ditches across the United States right now. It is a plant so common that people often pull it out and throw it in the trash. It costs only $2 at any garden supply store in the country, and yet it purifies water more effectively than a $200 filter. It isn't almost as good or simply comparable, but measurably and demonstrably better. It removes bacteria, it removes viruses, it removes sediment. It turns brown river water completely crystal clear in less than an hour. The United Nations documented this in 1983. The World Health Organization confirmed it in 2008. Meanwhile, the $4.5 billion water filter industry has spent decades making absolutely sure you never heard its name. It's not that they simply forgot this plant existed. That would be an accident. They buried it. That was not an accident. It was a decision. This is the story of Moringa oleifera, what it does to water, and why the secret of free purified water forever was never supposed to reach you. Welcome to the vault where we uncover what the industry tried to hide. If you aren't already subscribed, hit subscribe and the bell now. This is where we unearth everything they tried to bury. In 1817, a British army surgeon named James Kempthorne was stationed deep in colonial India with no clean water available. His soldiers were dying, not from combat, but from contaminated water, dysentery and cholera, diseases that turned clean-looking water into something lethal. The local population took him into the forest and showed him a tree. It was a tree so common that the British colonizers had ignored it for years. They crushed the seeds and mixed the powder into the water. Within 45 minutes, the water had visibly transformed. In an hour, the bacterial count had dropped by 99%. Kempthorne recorded this in his field notes in 1819. The British Army filed the report, categorized it, and forgot it. It was 160 years before anyone looked at it again. Then Dr. Samia Al-Azaria John from the University of Khartoum picked up the work where Kempthorne had left off and performed the first real tests. She published her analysis of moringa seeds as a purifying agent in 1981, and the scientific world paid close attention. Her findings were unlike anything seen before in water treatment. Moringa seeds contain what scientists call cationic proteins. These proteins possess a strong positive electrical charge when dissolved. Bacteria, viruses, and suspended particles have a negative charge. Opposite charges attract with tremendous force at a molecular level. The proteins bind to every contaminant they encounter in the water. The contaminants clump together in a process called flocculation. They become heavy. They sink. They settle at the bottom of the container. What remains on top is water stripped of all its contamination. This process is called coagulation and flocculation in water science. It is exactly the same mechanism used in every municipal treatment plant. The critical difference is that treatment plants use aluminum sulfate, a synthetic industrial chemical that must be manufactured and shipped. It costs money in every treatment cycle without exception and generates toxic aluminum sludge as an unavoidable byproduct. Moringa does the same job. It grows anywhere, costs nothing, produces no chemical waste, no toxic byproducts, and no costs. The United Nations published an exhaustive report on this discovery in 1983. The World Health Organization followed suit. Both institutions called moringa one of the most promising low-cost water treatment solutions ever identified anywhere in the world. I have gathered everything the filter industry hid from you. Everything is inside the full vault right now. Moringa purification guides with step-by-step visual instructions, emergency home water systems that cost less than $5 to assemble, water sourcing techniques from special forces across 3 continents, ancient mineral purification methods that predate modern chemistry, and field-tested survival protocols that require no equipment. More than 10 complete guides are collected in one place. The link is in the description or scan the code now on your screen. But don't go away. The video has barely begun and it gets much more serious. Now let's look at what the real numbers say about moringa. A single moringa seed contains approximately 100 milligrams per gram of seed powder when properly dried and prepared for use. That concentration is enough to treat an entire liter of water. Researchers at the University of Ghana conducted controlled field trials in 2012 using water from the Volta River in its flood phase. Turbidity levels fell 98.3%. The E. coli bacterial count fell 99.1%. Total coliform contamination dropped 97.8%. These are not controlled laboratory numbers with a clean baseline. They are results from a real river at its most contaminated point. Real moringa seeds, real river water, less than $2 per use. A study in the Journal of Water and Health from 2016 compared moringa directly to standard aluminum sulfate treatment. Moringa completely matched aluminum sulfate in turbidity removal. Moringa outperformed aluminum sulfate in total bacterial removal, and moringa produced no detectable chemical residue in the final water. The lead researcher called the result scientifically remarkable. So why isn't this on the shelves of every outdoor store in America? Why isn't it part of the standard gear for every military survival kit in the world? Why has the EPA never certified moringa as an approved water treatment? This is what a $4.5 billion industry looks like. Brita filters, Life Straw, Sawyer, Katadyn, Berkey, Zero Water. Every company sells you a device and then sells you the parts. Replacement cartridges, replacement filters, replacement membranes. The model requires that you never solve the problem completely and permanently. The model requires that clean water always have a recurring cost. Moringa grows in your backyard, self-seeds, and costs next to nothing. You can't create a subscription around a weed that anyone can grow. You can't charge recurring fees for a seed that multiplies itself. You can't patent a cationic protein that has existed for millennia. The EPA approval process costs at least $3 million at a minimum. No moringa farmer has that kind of money. No university has that incentive. Only a corporation with a rival product can fund that application. And no corporation with a rival product would ever file that paperwork. So moringa remains documented by the UN, validated by the WHO, buried and invisible in America, in Europe, and in every survival guide ever printed. That is not an oversight. It is architecture, deliberate and sustained. Now, this is exactly what to do with moringa for clean water at camp. Dried moringa seeds are available online for less than $2 total. Remove the outer shell and grind the inner seed into a fine powder. For 1 liter of water, use approximately 1/4 teaspoon of the powder. Add the powder to a small amount of clean water to form a paste first. Stir the paste vigorously into the contaminated water for 2 full minutes. This activates the proteins and spreads them throughout the volume of water. Then, stir slowly for 5 to 10 minutes to begin the clumping phase. After that, let the water sit without any disturbance for a full 30 minutes. Watch the water transform. The sediment visibly falls to the bottom. After 30 minutes, pour the top 2/3 into a clean container. Now you have water that is between 97% and 99% clean. For maximum safety, boil the water after the moringa treatment step. Moringa removes the biological load. Boiling eliminates what's left. This process requires no filter, no pump, no electricity, and no cost. It is the same method that UN field teams used in sub-Saharan Africa for 4 decades in regions without a power grid, without filters, and without a supply chain. It works in a mountain stream. It works in a flooded field. It works anywhere. The dried seeds keep for up to 2 years without losing their effectiveness. $2 worth of moringa seeds treats hundreds of liters of river water. No emergency kit from any outdoor store comes close to that cost ratio. This knowledge didn't disappear. Someone made sure it stayed buried. The UN published it. The WHO confirmed it. The journals documented it all. And the $4.5 billion filter industry kept on selling. Every store that stocks $60 Life Straws knows that moringa is real. They have the same UN reports that any researcher can find in an hour. They decided not to sell it. That choice has a clear financial motive. If this story changed how you look at the weeds in your garden, please subscribe and share this now. Every share reaches someone who may need this in a real emergency. Every subscriber keeps this vault open against those who want to shut it. The link to the full vault is in the description below, or scan the code on your screen now to access everything we have collected. This knowledge didn't die, it was buried. But things that are buried eventually come to the surface. If this story changed the way you see the world, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing the history they tried to hide. Plant the seeds of the future. The next vault opens soon, and what's inside is even more shocking.